All right. Well, welcome everyone to today's episode of the Daily Restaurant Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Ashton, and also hanging out with the one and only, that's you right there, Chef Kyla from Unilever Food Solutions. Is it Food Solutions or Food Service or Food?
Food solutions because we
Food
provide
Solutions,
solutions,
like
fries.
we're doing today. So, Chef is going to guide us through a world of culinary excitement today. Right? With all these amazing dishes you're going to provide you. Why are we doing this today is really why, Chef. What are we focusing on?
So what we're focusing on is how do we make exciting dishes with fewer ingredients and products. We know that we need to simplify things, but we still need to make it delicious. And so that's what we're going to focus on today. We've got some amazing summer flavors that can also go into fall. So I hope you enjoy.
Wow, that's all. Hope you enjoy. Grab a coffee and sit down.
I will.
Hope you enjoy. I won't. All right, well, let's cut to a commercial, come back, and then you're going to tackle. What's the first item you're going to tackle?
I'm going to do a vegan taco.
A vegan, plant-based or vegan?
Vegan. Vegan. We're not going to blur any lines here or definitions. It's vegan.
Just boom.
But
boom,
let's
vegan.
just say taco that happens to be vegan, because I know it can be very
Taco.
polarizing.
Exactly, and then you introduced this other thing that I thought was really cool. It's called iconic dishes.
Yes, iconic dishes. That is another thing that we're going to talk about today. So how are we elevating all those dishes that are so popular that keep guests coming in? So we're going to talk a little bit about that and that evolution.
There we go. We're going to break and come back with the Rockstar.
It's not about turning on the lights, starting the grill, and prepping the food. You put on an apron, flip the open sign, and ready for the day. Regulars sit at the same spot and tell stories that bring smiles. Some days can be chaos, challenging. You persevere because you have an undaunted passion, a calling to make people feel welcome and warm. Guests come and go, some you may never see again. The restaurant business is heaven and hell. It's laughter and tears, forever changing and extremely challenging. When the day is done, feeling exhausted, yet somehow content, you smile, knowing tomorrow you get to do it all again. And you wouldn't change a thing.
All right, that was deep.
That's great. Thank you so much for.
You try to bounce back from that one. There we go.
I just need a moment. Thank you so much, Jay, for having me, Unilever, with you.
You were one of the first. Do you know?
I was one of the OGs.
You were one of the first that we had on the show over 3 years ago now. And
crazy.
You were number 2, I think, out of the 512, I think, guests now that we've had on, different guests that we've had on. Right? So think about that. 502 different guests.
Thanks for keep having us back.
Yeah.
You know that we love this. And actually, we're still in the same scene that we were 3 years ago, because as you can probably tell, this is my home kitchen and not our secret laboratory at Unilever. So, it just happened to be a working from home day. My neighbors are going to love me again with all these great smells.
Well, we've been through a lot. You think about the things I've been through, construction with you, all these different things. We've been around a little bit, right? All these different things and stuff with you. So first of all, I just want to do a shout out on Unilever and yourself. Is that I think that's awesome that we do this from your home, to be honest, because we are then relating your brand of Unilever to what people are out there hanging out in their kitchens. We don't always hang in their restaurant kitchens. But you're pulling your brand down to what we can relate to. So I don't know if you're pulling it, but you're raising it up to what we relate to.
I get what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying? Get where I'm going?
I'm very relatable, Jay.
You're relatable.
If there's one word, they don't call me Kyla.
Did we do this
for nothing?
We have to go back. We have to look at those shows from the first part, because didn't we ever do a smoke alarm? Did you have a smoke alarm go off once?
I absolutely did.
Exactly.
I've had so many things happen. I'm surprised, like my dog hasn't jumped up on the counter, or although he's
We're gonna have to-
usually beside me begging for food the whole time. But
this-
yes, we're so happy though that we're back, and hopefully without any incident today, just some delicious food and ideas.
all right.
So I wanted to go back to that idea of iconic dishes. And this really is about how are we attracting more guests? How are we really leveraging those concepts, those menu items that we know are going to keep them coming? And so that is thinking about the classics, the staples that we've always had. So we think about burgers, we think about sandwiches, we think about soup, you know, all kind of large menu share categories, but the evolution of. So we already know salads had evolved into bowls. So now bowls being those flavor carriers, which we're going to cover one of those today. Pizzas in a kind of general way have become, you know, yes, we're always going to love our classic toppings on our pizzas, but flatbreads, which I kind of see the difference as being something that could have more unique ingredients, can have hot and cold together. Again, just more opportunity for us to get more flavor, more texture, you know, into these items that are really going to excite guests, because of course they're not going to want to do it at home. And we know that people are going to be hesitant about dining out as we're moving forward over the next little bit. So how do we do this exciting flavors with, you know, less ingredients and just kind of mixing and matching in a whole bunch of different ways? And that's really what this is going to be about today. So I hope that you find some solutions in this. Some food solutions in this. You're welcome, Jay. And our first one's going to be a taco. So this is where we have our premium handhelds.
Premium handhelds.
Premium handhelds. This is where we're starting to see bao buns come in. You know, tacos have been around for a long time, but it's what are we doing differently with them? You know, different types of sandwiches that are really elevated. So it's different sauces, different premium toppings to it, or at least the perception of premium, right? Which is what we want to go for, because we don't want to break the bank either.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So our first item is a king oyster mushroom, pulled king oyster mushroom taco. So I know that I've shown an item like this before using the pulled king oyster mushrooms. These are absolutely one of my most favorite mushrooms, just because it is so hearty and because of how it really will hold up to a lot, but it can take on a lot of different forms. So I've even seen people go ahead and, you know, break off kind of organically shaped pieces, not dicing it, but breading it so it kind of mimics like a chicken nugget. So there's lots of different things we can do. One of the things that you can do with this, but it can be very laborious. So how you shred it is essentially like you could take the fork, some pulled pork, and that's how we end up getting, you know, little pieces that come off that really mimic what you might see for like pulled chicken, right? Mm-hmm. And then it's really what you do with it after that, because it doesn't have a ton of that flavor, but you're still going to get the umami coming through, obviously, because of the mushroom. I light bulb moment a little while back and did it on my mandolin, and then ended up kind of crunching it a little bit so that it wasn't as uniform shape. And that was a real time saver, because if anybody has torn apart a pork shoulder with forks, it takes a while and it gets a little monotonous. So mandolin works just fine, because once it goes through that oven and you get that crispiness in the roasted, it does look a lot more natural and a lot more organic.
Cool.
So once you've shredded your mushroom, I ended up using an ancho chipotle sauce that we have. This is our spicy mayo, but it comes in the same container as this. So I ended up mixing that together with some of this. It has this really nice smokiness to it. And as in the name, it has ancho peppers and chipotle peppers in it. It is heat stable. So that's totally fine for me to be mixing the mushrooms in there, or if I wanted to marinate meat with this, as well as adding it to a gravy if I wanted a chipotle gravy. It really is a super versatile sauce that really goes a long way, packs a lot of flavor. And it's almost like there's been this, you know, re-immersion of chipotle sauces. You know what I mean? Like,
it's coming back. It's coming around.
Thing, and then it kind of went away, and now it's back again. So really
Awesome.
lovely sauce, really easy to work with. It has a tiny bit of sweetness to it, which is also really nice. And what makes that especially nice is, so once I've added a little bit of oil to this, I added a pinch of cinnamon because for me, I just like that warmth that comes along with it. I think that it's really nice when you're talking about Mexican cuisine as well. It gives good contrast to it. So adding a pinch of cinnamon and then roasting that off in the oven. So I did about 400 for 20 minutes. And you can see in there, it looks like pork now, right?
Yeah.
And you get little crispy bits on the edges as well. And that is also those sugars in there that are starting to caramelize. So it really gives it, this texture and flavor that this is why I want to say taco that happens to be vegan. So for your non-vegan patrons, I'm sure that they're going to love that as well, which is great, of course, when you have tacos, because you got to order a whole bunch, mix and match, share with everybody. That's the way to go.
So Kyla, do you how much was in that bowl there? Is that one mushroom?
So this was 2. Woo!
Okay.
Now it's 1.
No, it's 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. That was 2 mushrooms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Very cool.
The other thing too is if we don't want to use all king oyster mushrooms and we kind of want to, build that out a little bit more, we could add, other types of mushrooms in there, maybe more common ones that can reduce the price a little bit more. So there's ways to do it, but we are going to get so much flavor out of this and then our other toppings that you don't need it. You don't need a ton of it to really fill up that taco. So the other thing that we want to create is actually our sauce, because what is a taco without a delicious sauce? So what we've used here, so these are going to be all the components, is the Hellmann's vegan mayo. So this is canola oil, Canadian made, fantastic. This of course is not the food service size, but it has this really nice texture to it that holds up really well. And one of the things that I say is, if you're offering vegan options and a variety of other options, the vegan mayo is a great way to go kind of as the base for sauces, because then it's appropriate for everybody. Again, just being careful how we're marketing that, because it could still have some sort of, negative, people that are perceiving it in a negative way because they make assumptions about what vegan is. But this one, really, really simple. So we have our vegan mayo. Had some cilantro, some jalapeno, and then roasted off some poblano pepper. Again, something that I think has fabulous texture. There's a lot of different places that we could use this, a variety of different sauces, using it as an actual taco filling, using it for flatbreads, in bowls, something that we can get a lot of use out of and really stretching it. So all of these get blended together. Can add a little bit of lime juice to that as well. And that's going to be the sauce for our taco. So I'm going to quickly grill off some of these tortillas right here. A little bit of oil in there. So we have our prepared sauce. You can see it ends up being a really lovely color. Sorry, there is some avocado in there too. Some really, really lovely color to that sauce. Super versatile. Even though I added the jalapeno, it doesn't really have a ton of spice to it, but just really nicely balanced. And I'm also going to chop up this poblano and add it with my mushrooms to the taco. So that's the other thing. There's other things we can put in there if we don't want to do all mushroom all the time. And then I'm going to do some cilantro and jalapeno, and it's going to be a very simple taco. I know, Jay, you're used to me usually putting like 50 items together. We'll save that for bowl. We're going simple. And that's kind of, that's the idea of like the street taco, right? If the components in it are so good, you don't need a lot going on. And that's what we're aiming for. A good sauce, the mushrooms are done right. So I just decided to do it in my cast iron pan here. So I just grilled off my tortillas. Put them over here. I actually put off eating lunch, so guess what I'm gonna have?
We've had lots of lunches. We've had a lot of lunches together
in a while.
Years, eh?
So I'm gonna do my avocado crema. I'm gonna put some down there.
So is it got like a avocado flavor at all, or is it just the color?
A little bit of, well, I mean, as much as avocado can have a flavor. So you're really going to get more of that
Good point. Good point.
poblano coming through, right?
Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
That's why you're cooking and I'm not.
It's a very good question, though. So now I'm putting down, just so you can see this, I'm putting down some of my poblano strips. Okay, and then I'm going to do my mushroom. Oh.
I've never done mushroom like that before. I've only done like jackfruit and stuff.
Yeah, the mushroom, just again, because you're getting that natural umami sensation flavor from the mushroom, it just takes it to that next level, right? Which the jackfruit, of course, doesn't have. So I'm going to do, I like it spicy. Some like it hot, Jay. I don't know if you heard. So that's a really old movie.
I was going to be like, what movie is that from?
Well, it's called Some Like It Hot. It was a Marilyn Monroe movie.
Was it?
Yeah, from way back in the day.
It wasn't in the 80s? 80s too?
I was very much a Turner Classic Movies person.
Really? Serious?
It's me.
Serious?
Yeah. So there we go. We have our king oyster mushrooms. Just happens to be vegan with our poblano crema, jalapeno, poblanos, and cilantro. Delicious. Are you going to fly into Toronto now, Jay, so that you can come have one?
Yes. Off to Toronto. Here we go.
Oh, the other thing, if you wanted, but of course this is going to take it away from being vegan, is I will probably do this prior to eating this, but we also have some of our spicy mayo, which is right here. And that's the red jalapeno and the cayenne in there. So you get like heat at first, wait a minute, and then you really get a kick kind of like in the back of your throat from that cayenne. So when we say spicy, we mean spicy. Because why would you make one if it's not, is what I'm saying.
Exactly. So the next dish you're going to do is the grilled?
Is it grilled
pulled
chicken?
Pork? The pulled pork?
Nope, that's going to be my last one. Now
you're going pulled pork last?
Yeah.
Nice. You're going bowl. You're going bowl.
I'm doing a bowl. You know me. So again, we talked about those iconic dishes and elevating that salad into a bowl. We've been down here before, but it's how do we play around with these different flavors, make it really interesting. And again, I'm not going to go overboard. I'm not going to do too many different ingredients because there's already a lot of flavor jam-packed in here. So the rice that I already did here is a cilantro lime brown rice. I have added black beans to it as well. So again, getting those legumes in there, adding a little bit more interest to the base of the bowl. One of the worst things as far as rice bowls are concerned, let's be very specific here. One of the worst things, I'm sure there's a lot worse things that can happen, is, getting to the bottom of your bowl and having a big spoonful of very bland, plain rice. So this is where I've also used our vegetable liquid concentrated base. It really just, I don't need to add any extra salt because it just really helps enhance that flavor. You get the mirepoix notes coming through. So lovely. We've got a good flavored base.
But you don't do a lot. You don't use a lot of that, right?
No, you don't need a ton. So you would use, so this is obvious, it's a liquid concentrate, and you would use 30 milliliters of the actual product to prepare. So if you're making a stock out of it, to prepare 1 liter of stock.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, okay. Now I get it.
You can also use it in its concentrated form too. So I'll glaze vegetables and roast them off with it. Using it in sautés. And of course, we've got chicken, beef, and our seafood one as well.
Yeah.
Lots of options. So what I ended up doing with this chicken before, because I wasn't going to bring you, although it would be fun sometime, but very noisy with construction. But I grilled this beforehand because it's out on my balcony. And I had marinated this piece of chicken with our smoked peach vinaigrette. So again, same format as this.
So is that a new dressing? Is that a smoked peach vinaigrette?
Actually, it's kind of one of those, like, when the pandemic happened, we were launching. So I think it went under the radar a little bit.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Vein as, and for those that have had the other before, the lemon za'atar vinaigrette, which were really created specifically with grain bowls in mind, knowing that grains don't have a ton of flavor, so it really absorbs and it comes through. So again, these types of dressings are also amazing for marinades. And because we only sell one-phase dressings, so meaning that they don't have that huge separation of oil and then the other stuff, not only does it cling to salads really well without getting a pool of dressing at the bottom, but it also marinates well, again, without having that separation if you're leaving it overnight or for a couple of hours. This has such a lovely aroma to it. So I had used some of the smoked peach vinaigrette and again, some of our chipotle sauce that we have. And when I was grilling it, it just, I was getting smokiness and I was getting some peach in there, and it just, so many different wonderful aromas at the same time. So this is going to be the topper for our bowl. I've got some lovely grill marks here, way more than I need. So of course we can also imagine, marinating this and creating a chicken sandwich out of it. Same components that we're going to put into the bowl. Just a lot of different ways that we can go and utilize the same ingredients again to satisfy a variety of different guests.
Cool.
So here we have our bowl. I'm going to add some greens to it, and I'm actually going to put a little bit of the vinaigrette on. So again, that nice peachiness to it. It also has chili flakes in there. Like I said, it's a smoked peach, so it has a lot more complexity. It's not just like a straight up fruit vinaigrette, kind of like those old timey raspberry vinaigrettes, that were like really syrupy. And sorry, I shouldn't make those faces. I could never play poker.
No, I was gonna be like, no comment. Let me just get your phone number up here on the screen.
And so we have some fresh basil as well. I thought that would be really lovely brightness with the peach that we already have going on, that smokiness that we've going on. I'm going to do with some goat cheese, just a little bit. We don't need to do a ton. That just, adding cost with every dollop here. But again, that's not the main attraction, but just to add some of that creaminess. Now I'm going to add my chicken. Oh yeah. And again, because of that vinaigrette too, it just gave it such a nice glaze to it.
So is that a full chicken breast? Like, that's huge.
Yes. So I just butterflied it.
Okay.
I find it easier for me to grill that way.
Yeah, me too.
Especially, one, I had the grill pumped up for my poblano pepper. And when you have like a big fat chicken breast, so when, your outside's cooked before the inside, I didn't want to have to toss it in the oven. So,
I'm with you on that. I did that the other day.
Yeah.
I just saw those Ontario chickens are a lot larger than Alberta chicken. That's a big chunk of chicken.
So now I have some toasted slivered almonds as well, just to give us a little bit more texture. And this is where, so I've got the peach, and this I'm going to add some of the spicy mayo. Because for me, I need more mayo on everything. And that is not because I work for Unilever. It's my own problem that I have. So this is our lovely bowl that we have. So we have our peach grilled chicken with our goat cheese, our almonds. We have our cilantro rice and beans under there and some spicy mayo on top. I'm going to have a hard time deciding which of these I'm going to eat first between the tacos and the bowl. That's for sure. So again, using that chipotle sauce again, we're getting into the peach vinaigrette, which I'm going to show another application, more potentials for the spicy mayo. So just a few ingredients, a lot of options, very different offerings. I'm pretty excited about them. There
you go. So last one is the pulled pork.
Do a flatbread.
Yes.
Are we gonna go to?
You want me to break? You want to get ready?
Do a little magic of television cleanup here.
Okay, you do that, and then I'll give you about a minute to do that. Okay. Is that cool?
Yeah.
You do that in a minute? Okay, we'll be right back. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back. Fancy seeing you here. So now we're moving on to our final item of the day. So we are talking about those flatbreads. Again, pizza, flatbread, potato, but really I think it opens us up to putting a variety of different items on there. It's much more of that, I want to say shareable, like pizzas aren't. But also, like I said, having cold with hot. And I think it's also where you expect maybe to see some more unique flavors. So super simple. This is a little tiny baby flatbread because Jay's here is not able to eat it. So, I had to.
I can't eat that anymore.
Oh.
I know, eh?
Free?
I can eat the top.
That's okay. The top is where it's at.
That's where it's at.
That's fine. So I did some pulled pork here. Again, beauty of this, I was able to.
Can you take the pulled pork? Kyla, can you put the pulled pork beside the mushroom? It looks the same.
Oh, well, all the mushrooms in the taco, but yeah.
It's the whole show. We're just going to use the word yeah.
That chipotle sauce, I keep doing this with spicy mayo, again, is that it's heat stable. So I was able to add some of that into the braising liquid for the pork shoulder. Once it kind of came out, yes, you can reduce the sauce, and I would say use some of that moisture to put back in there. But then I also added a little bit more of the chipotle. So it's got this really nice, rich color to it. It's got that nice smoky flavor to it. Again, a little bit of that sweetness coming through. Very, very versatile with regards to what you can do with this in the kitchen. So I'm also going to use this on the base of the flatbread. So it's not your traditional tomato sauce. Again, we're going to get a nice caramelization out of this. I'm going to do a little bit of cheese on the bottom. And then, again, I like me some spice. I'm going to do some jalapenos in there. Delicious. So, again, whatever we have on hand. Red onion, if we have leftover, rotisserie chicken, depending on what channel you're in. There's a lot of things that we can do, same sort of flavor profile, but just using what we have on hand. So now we have so the other thing I added into this as well was a little bit of the peach dressing. So I did that afterwards. Again, it can handle some heat, but I definitely wouldn't put it into the braising liquid. It'll be acidic and you'll lose it in there. So now I'm adding some of that peachy, smoky pulled pork. And I'm actually going to put some cilantro leaves on here, even though it's going to get baked and it'll get wilty, but it's going to be hiding underneath our cheese as a nice little flavor contrast. And then just top it again with a little bit more cheese. So the magic of television, Jay. You don't want to sit here and wait while this bakes. So now we have our baked, gooey flatbread with our delicious pork. I'm going to, again, give this a little bit of a drizzle. And that's it. So I'm going to do some slices here. A nice share for people. A lot of nice flavors. Again, you're going to get just a hint of that peach coming through in the pulled pork, but a lot of smokiness, delicious cheese, jalapenos. It's all the good things.
Do you
the bread part?
So Kyla, yeah, exactly. So is that peach something that you can use like on a sandwich and stuff, the dressing or anything? Like, can you use it cold? Everywhere?
So you can use it, like if you want to mix it with a mayo to make a flavored mayo. Really, I mean, the sky's the limit with it, right? So, especially
it's kind of neat.
Summertime, it's just a perfect flavor, and it's got such a great aroma to it.
Yeah, I wanted to try it. I've never tried it. It sounds really cool. Yeah.
I think I know how we can hook you up.
I think you do.
Just walk into the warehouse.
Exactly. I happen to know where some is.
So 3 different dishes, awesome. Very easy to execute, very little prep time that had to be devoted to it. And again, limiting what we have in our pantry, making the most out of it, and hopefully really satisfying our guests.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chef Kyla from
Thank you.
Unilever Food Solutions. So I got it right.
Yes. Visit us
Right?
at unileverfoodsolutions.ca.
You can check out the amazing ideas there. They got some good stuff there.
Oh,
And
thank
thanks again for being on the show today and joining us. Like I said, you're one of the first. And this is wrapping up almost our season 3. We got another 2 weeks, I think, of shows, and then we're done. Done for season 3.
Well, and congrats to you, Jay. You have done a lovely job with this show, and I know there's a team behind it, but it's really been a pleasure. It's amazing that you have us on here. So thank you so much. And I
No
hope
problem.
this was
Thank you.
really helpful to anybody that's watching it.
Absolutely. Always helpful. Love your ideas. Always good ideas. And someday we're gonna have to cook together in your kitchen or
Yes.
in a kitchen there.
We're going to meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll meet somewhere in the middle. Not
Okay.
Winnipeg. Not Winnipeg. But no, against Winnipeg. When I'm
Well,
in
not
Toronto
Winnipeg
next.
in January. There we go.
Yes. We'll do
Yeah.
something. We'll do something together in person soon. So thanks again, Chef. And have a great rest of your day. And everyone else, tune in again. Always Monday to Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, every time. I'm just saying that like, wow. It's all the time. Anyways. Thanks again, Chef. All the best to everyone else. Have a great rest of your day. And don't forget to eat out and support our industry. Thanks so much. Bye.